My name is Austin Stevenson. The day is January 17th, 2019, and the time is currently 8:51 p.m. As you can currently see, there is no visible crystal growth in the solution right now. To make the alum crystals, I first dissolved aluminum foil in KOH, which allowed for the isolation of potassium for the later formation of the alum, as well as the dissolution of aluminum. Once dissolved, I added sulfuric acid to further break down the aluminum and help combine it with parts of the sulfuric acid, and which later combined with the sulfur to create the aluminum sulfur components of the alum crystals. Afterwards, I took my final solution and cooled it down to help all the chemical components of the alum bind together to create the alum crystals within the solution. I then isolated the extraneous solutions through filtering them out with a vacuum and dissolved them in water to help disperse them as evenly possible. That way, whenever the water solution that is currently in evaporates, the alum particles will bond as evenly as possible to create better crystal structures than what we previously had. This is done by saturating the solution, and once the solution evaporates, the alum particles will supersaturate the water, causing the excess to leave the solution and begin to form crystal particles at the bottom of it. And this cycle of saturation, supersaturation, solidification is constantly happening as the water continually evaporates. In order to grow crystals of NaCl or table salt, what I would do would be to dissolve some table salt into some water until no more salt will dissolve. Heat the solution up until that salt will dissolve, and then let the water salt mixture sit out as the water slowly evaporates, similar to what we're currently doing with our alum crystals, until the salt solidifies at the bottom after the water is completely gone and creates crystals. An example of another way to grow a crystal would be, according to an article titled "Growing Crystals" by Penn State University's Center for Nanoscale Science. They discussed a procedure to form crystals, which was referred to as the cooling method. In the example of the cooling method provided, an Epsom salt crystals were formed. To use the cooling method to form Epsom salt crystals, you would start with 1 cup of warm distilled water and add Epsom salts while stirring the solution. You then continue to add Epsom salts until no more can be dissolved. The amount of Epsom salts should be approximately 1 cup. Allow the mixture to sit for a few minutes so that the undissolved salt sinks to the bottom of the container. And following that, you pour the solution into a shallow bowl, making sure to stop before pouring the undissolved salt. Then place the bowl in the refrigerator for approximately 3 hours, and after doing so, some Epsom salt crystals should be beginning to grow.